It's a new month, guys. It is a new month, and I am here to share with you my schedule, what I bid for, and did I get my bid. Stay tuned and keep watching. My name is Francella and welcome back to my next location. If you're new to this channel, once again, I am a new Seattle-based flight attendant working with a major US airline company. And in today's video, I will be sharing with you guys my July schedule. Our schedules are released on the 16th of the month prior. So it's out, it's all out. I bid for certain things. And I'm here to see what I got, what I did, among other things. Let's get into it. So typically with these videos, I would do like a whole situation where I reveal, we all see my schedule together. But for the month of July, because I bid for certain things, I was anxious to see what I got assigned. Yes, I was. And by the time the schedules were released, I was in the 3-day rotation. So I was like literally on the plane when it came up live. So it's here. I did take a look at it. I did make some changes because I wanted to move some things around just to free up my schedule a bit, because that was the ultimate goal for July. The ultimate goal for July, once again, was for me to have enough room on my schedule to pick what I want. First of all, before I move on or into what my schedule was, I do want to start off by saying that I am a new flight attendant. I have been flying for a month and a half by now, and my perspective or the information that I share or my feedback or experience based on my schedule is coming from somebody who's only been flying for a month and a half. The situation will definitely and certainly be different from somebody who's been flying longer than I have. That being said, personally, I'm not looking for much. I'm not here looking for specific layovers or specific destinations or not. As I've always said, ever since I started this flight attendant journey, my goal is comfort, and I just want to be comfortable wherever I am. And I'm still adjusting and adapting to the lifestyle. So my goal is to just survive, essentially. However, one thing I will say is that as a new flight attendant with very little seniority, you make your schedule. You have to work your schedule. So if you want certain things, you have to put in the work to get it. And for me, after talking to my mentors, after talking to my manager, and after talking to other flight attendants who've been in the business for a while, it became apparent that, hey, if I have to make my schedule, if I have to work my schedule, then I might as well make sure that when the system generates trips or our schedules for us, my goal then should be getting as much free time as possible so that I can pick up what I want from other people or from the system itself, which is we call open time. So that was the strategy for me. I know by now some of you are definitely going to leave in the comment section below, well, how do you work your schedule? How do you get as much free time as possible? I hear you. I hear you. I was like you a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago. So I get you. I feel you. I'm a new flight attendant too. But what I will say is, like I said in one of my videos, the presentation on scheduling was the worst when you're in training. But when you go for your orientation, they will talk about scheduling again. You might not understand. It will still be a lot. It felt like a lot, honestly. But when you go for your second meeting with your manager and your mentors, they will talk about scheduling again. There would be a scheduling specialist there as well. What I will say is the best bet for surviving when it comes to bidding and stuff like that for your schedule is figuring out what you want. So figure out what you want. So if you want certain destinations, you might not be able to hold it, but it wouldn't hurt for you to bid for it, because if you can't hold it, all the system is going to do is ignore the bid that you put in. So let's say you want to only travel to Amsterdam the entire month. That's the only layover destination that you want, but you can't hold it because a lot of people who are more senior to you are bidding for those things. It's not going to impact you negatively. All that's going to do is that the system will ignore that bid because you can't hold it. That's all. So it doesn't hurt to try. So keep that mindset. So as I was saying, figure out what you want, write it down, type it up, however, in your notes, your phone, wherever it is you want to keep it. Figure out what you want for the coming month, and then you can get assistance in terms of what you need to put in the system to reflect what you want. So that is the best tip I can give you. And I would also say be realistic in as much as you want the entire world. the drama. Figure out what is more important to you. Is it that day off, or is it that layover destination, or is it not working on weekends? So yes, you work your schedule and you make your schedule. And for me, I was like, okay, let me get as much free time as possible so I can pick what I want when I want it. All right, so that's the first thing. And then the other thing also is that people talk about swapping a lot on social media. When we talk about swapping and making your schedule and stuff like that, you can swap two ways, either with other flight attendants or with the system. So I believe how the system works, I'm still new, so if correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section below. I'm open to correction. I'm open to more information because I am new and people here are new. So if you've got the info, drop it in the comment section below. Open time is a system. If you work with the airline company that I work for, that shows us the schedules that are up for grabs. So on that system, it's first come, first serve. So if you see a trip there with a full rotation there and you are interested, you can swap a trip that you have been assigned that's on your rotation for that specific trip. Obviously, there's certain factors that might prevent it from going through or not. You have to meet certain criteria. That is a whole beast on its own. But the basic understanding is that, hey, I see a rotation between the 21st of June to the 23rd of June. I have a rotation that's probably on the 26th of June to whatever, and I want to swap into the 21st rotation. You can do that with open time. It's first come, first serve. As long as everything balances, you're good to go. You just swap into it. So that's a way to, so that's why people would say, even if you get assigned a trip that you don't like, do not worry. Things do show up on open time from time to time, and you can swap into other trips if you don't like it. So you're not stuck with the rotation per se, looking at the bigger picture. The second thing when it comes to swapping is swapping with other flight attendants, like I mentioned. And with that, you swap with other people. I think the platform is called the swap board, where other flight attendants will post trips that they do want other flight attendants to pick up or to swap into. So for me, so far, being a new flight attendant, when it comes to swapping, I have been more successful swapping with open time, and I typically go to the swap board for picking up trips from other flight attendants, because if I have to swap with a flight attendant, it means I have to reach out to them. I have to figure out if what they want matches what I want. The whole back and forth for me, it's a lot, and I'm not really invested in any particular layover rotation trip or anything. So on open time also, you can pick up and swap. So two things, the same way you can pick up and swap with the swap board, which is where other flight attendants are posting their own assigned trips. The open time system, you can do the same way too. I would do another video talking specifically about these platforms and sometimes what you can do and how they work and stuff like that. But for my schedule purpose, I just wanted to give a brief overview so you guys will see, because I did make some changes prior to recording this video because I could not wait. With that being said, today I will start off with what I bid for. What did Priscilla bid for? I know that I'm not going to hold international destinations, and I am a flight attendant who creates content about being a flight attendant. So I need to show you guys that realistically, what they say about becoming a flight attendant, being able to travel all over the world or go to very beautiful or international destinations, is a real thing. It is true. But sometimes I feel people are not as realistic about that information as they can be, in the sense that if you're a new flight attendant, depending on what base you are at, you might not be able to hold those destinations that you want. However, there's always a way out. Like I said, you can swap into it or pick it up. But how can you pick up a trip when your schedule is filled with other trips? For the month of July, my main goal were two things. I wanted high time or high credit trips, and I wanted my days off to be Monday to Thursday. Personally, I wanted to work over the weekend. So those were the only two things that I bid for. I didn't care how many legs were gonna be in that trip that I got. But the whole idea for me for wanting high time flying was because I wanted to be assigned as little rotations as possible so that I can do what? Get a free schedule or free calendar. Get it? But the whole idea was that the higher the credit hours per the rotation I get, the fewer trips I might get assigned. So I already made changes to this rotation. My initial schedule essentially had a 2-day trip, this 2-day trip right here, on the 7th to the 8th. I had a 2-day trip there. And then this set of 8 days were actually on the 29th, 28th, 29th to the 30th. Aside from that, I had a 3-day, so I'm new, so I knew that I will be working on holidays, and I don't mind because you do get that holiday pay. I knew essentially I will be assigned a trip that would cover the 4th of July. So I wasn't surprised that the system gave me a rotation literally on the days off that I requested because of the position of the 4th. So I literally got a trip on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, a 3-day rotation, and that was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, literally the days that I wanted off, okay? So, but it tried. One thing I will say is that PBS tried, because aside from this 3-day rotation that I got on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because it's a holiday period, every other rotation, even including my 8 days, were on the days that I wanted to work. So the only deviation from the date that I requested for was this 3-day rotation, which is because it's a holiday and I'm a new flight attendant. My seniority is very itty bitty, so regardless, I'm going to have to work on a holiday. So this 2-day was over the weekend. It was Friday, Saturday, which I was open to work. The other 2-day trip that I had was Thursday, Friday, which was part of the days that I wanted to work. Remember, initially I wanted Monday to Thursday off. However, I changed it last minute to having Monday to Wednesday off. So Thursday, Friday rotation assignment is on par with what I wanted, or the days that I wanted to work. My second set of 3-day 8 days were also on Friday to Sunday, so perfectly fine. So honestly, if you ask me, PBS did whatever it could. I got what I wanted. I got high time flying because the 2-day trips that I had were 14 and 15 hours, over 14, over 15 hours. So that's really good for a 2-day trip. In all, I got 3 rotations assigned for the month of July and 2 sets of 3-day 8 days. That was all I got. So remember, because I increased my bid or my request for getting assigned high time rotations, it forced the system to give me high credit flights or rotations so that I can hit the schedule value that I should be assigned with fewer rotation assigned. Once I got my schedule, I moved a few things around. Like I said, my entire goal was to free up my schedule. So until the time that I moved the things that I moved around, I still had a reasonable number of days off that I could pick up at least 2 international trips here and there if I wanted to, but it's the way my schedule was set up that I did not like. So what I did, as you can see, was that these green arrows are just showing the movements that happen and where things used to be. So essentially what I did was I moved the set of 8 days that I had on the 28th to 30th. I moved that to the 7th to the 9th after I had swapped my trip, which was assigned to me on the 7th to the 8th to the 11th and 12th. So if you look at my schedule right now, this is essentially what it is. I have a 3-day trip. I start off July with a 3-day trip on the 3rd of July. And then I have a day off, a set of 8 days. I get another day off. Then I have 2 2-day trips back to back. The good thing is that the first 2-day trip has an early report, but the second 2-day trip has a late report. I think it's 2:55 in the afternoon. So it's really good. Even though it's back to back, I still get some time, a good amount of time off to rest. So it's not that bad. And then what I did was I picked up a turn. I saw a turn, a 1-day trip that was worth over 10 hours. And I picked it up. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it or I might post it for somebody else to pick it up. So yeah, this is what I did to get 7 days off, a whole week off at the end of the month. I literally just used the swap board, and then I used the open time to swap my trip, and then I saw somebody. Yes. So how I was able to swap my 8 days. So when it comes to swapping your reserve days, you cannot swap those on open time. You would have to do it with another flight attendant. So while I was on the rotation, I saw somebody post that they were open to swapping their 8 days with another flight attendant because they needed, I think, the 28th and the 29th and the 30th off or something like that. And that's what I had. So their need matched exactly what I had. And the good thing was that I had already swapped out of my 2-day trip that was up here. So I had this spot open. So all I did was to pick up their 8-day set, and then they took mine, and that was it. But yes, as you can see, this is what it is. So right now I'm sitting at 3 rotations where I picked up another rotation. So I have 4 rotations this month, 1 3-day, 2 2-days, and then 1 day. And these 2 days are high time flight. Like this is like 14 hours. And then this is, I think, over 12 hours because initially I had a 15-hour one and I swapped it for this. But one thing to note is that the schedule is not permanent. It's always subject to change. So as I was saying, when it comes to swapping A-days, you have to swap with other flight attendants. You can't swap with open time, or your reserve days. You can't swap with open time. You have to swap with other fellow flight attendants. And once you graduate, you should get a list of at least my base. They provided us with a list of all the Facebook pages that we can join. Other flight attendants will show you as well, but they provided us with a list of those Facebook pages, and I joined those Facebook pages, and that's where I saw a flight attendant within my base that wanted to swap out of their A-days or swap my A-day for their A-day. So it worked out perfectly because it ended up freeing up the last week of the month for me. So now what do I want to do this month? As I was saying earlier, I try to work the bulk of my rotations within the first 2 weeks. That way, towards the end of the month, I have the flexibility of wanting to rest, take more time off, or pick up more trips. So my current idea is that I might pick up 2 international trips. And when I say international, I'm using the word loosely because in the flight attendant industry, it means something else. It means international, but not the international that you're thinking, because we do consider places like London, Amsterdam, Germany, all those places as transoceanic because you're going over the ocean. And then places like Canada, Mexico, Hawaii as international. So even though Hawaii is part of the US and it's domestic, don't get me started on that, but because it's not relevant to this conversation right now. But yeah, so I do plan on picking at least a Paris or London or an Amsterdam trip towards the end of the month, or I might go visit Ghana. So I'm still thinking about it. And yeah, I don't know yet. I haven't, like I said, I'm still in June right now, and because of how soon our schedules come out, it makes it sometimes, at least to me, it gives you some time to plan things. And now that I literally have the end of the month off, or the week of the month, the end of the month off, it's seeming like I can make plans, but I don't know yet. I might just pick up 2 international trips because I have, what, 8 days off or so, 8 or 7 days. I can literally pick up a 3-day rotation to Amsterdam or Paris or London, get a day off, and then pick up another one as well. The other third thing that I might consider doing is that I might leave that week open and see how my schedule for August appears, so that I can have room to swap and move things around, because I feel like with the way the system works, it would be easier to move or swap trips from the month coming and picking up things in the month you're in, because the month you're in has a higher value. Like the trips are coming up sooner than the month coming. So I think that would make more sense. But that's about it, guys. That is my schedule for the month of July. I think I did good. I think I did good with my bid, and I think I did good with what I got. PBS only deviated from my request because of the holiday, and it was just one rotation that I was assigned on a business day, which was Monday to Wednesday. But aside from that, my 8 days, my other trips were all on the days that I wanted to work. So the next thing that I plan on bidding for is my start date for my 8 days and stuff like that.
I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute. I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning all.